if you look at it, you know that the people are agitating from one place to another. But the result has been announced. If anybody has any problem, let that person go to court.
My own is that the fake promise that he used to deceive Nigeria. This time around, we are waiting for him.
Do you want to keep tabs with trending national, state, or local issues? Then listen to Open Parliament every weekday on Family Love 99.9 FM. Umahia. Open Parliament, when the issues are balanced.
When I told you that the man is confused, the man doesn't know a direction. He failed because he was unprepared. You cannot get something from nothing. So they are just trying to find someone to blame for the failure. So they failed and failed mostly.
Beautiful Wednesday morning, the 13th day in the month of March 2024. A very good morning to you. Welcome to the midweek edition of Open Parliament, live on the frequency. My name is Mr. C. Here we bring you some of the biggest stories making headlines in Nigeria, in Abia and beyond. Security now, where the House of Representatives on Tuesday called on the Office of the National Security Advisor to coordinate intelligence and security operations in the country, particularly in Kaduna State, following last week's abduction of over 200 students in the Chikwe local government area of the state, this by suspected bandits. Meanwhile, Kaduna-based Muslim cleric Sheikh Ahmed Goni yesterday sought government's permission to approach and have talks with the bandits who abducted about 287 school children from Kuriga Government Secondary School and LEA Primary Schools in the Chikwe local government area of the state. Well, he insisted that dialogue was definitely the way to go. Away from the national, where in Abia, members of the Conference of Former Speakers of Abia State House of Assembly on Friday, March 8, visited Governor Alex Oti, where they endorsed his performances so far in office. All the former speakers, including the immediate past Deputy Governor of the state, Saudi Okochukwu, Martins Azubike and others during the visit pledged to support Governor Alex Oti, even as they accompanied him to inspect some ongoing road project in the commercial nerve center of the state, Aba. Joining me virtually to talk on this and more, I've got a regular but very distinguished guest, a fellow of ethical leadership from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, a recipient of Zix Award in Innovation and Creativity, a pioneer inductee, National Integrity Hall of Fame, a former Argonne Secretary General, a fellow of Chartered Institute of Forensics and Fraud Investigators of Nigeria, Interpol Systems Consultant and Security Expert, Sir Chikwe Udensi. Good morning, sir. Welcome to Open Parliament.
Good morning, Mr. C. Good morning, listening public.
Yes. Well, we're glad to have you join us this morning. But the issue of security, we can't stop talking about it in the light of the alarming issues revolving that across the country. I mean, on March 7th, just a couple of days ago, government stormed the local education authority primary school and government secondary school, this in Kuriga community, taking into captivity over 200 pupils and students. Reminiscent of what happened in Chibok, isn't it? I mean, sad story.
Very sad. Extremely sad story.
What do you make of it? I mean, the House of Representatives yesterday did call on the National Security Advisor to justify the sum of 3.2 trillion naira that has been allocated to security.
Well, the amount of money being allocated to security, if you look back, it's very humongous, but it does not justify what we get from security. And as you see, you know that, like you always will introduce me, I'm a member of the Security Experts Committee in the country. In fact, I'm also a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Security Experts in the country. We meet every 2 weeks, twice a month we meet. We look at emerging security problems. You see, if you do not know where you're coming from, you probably will not know where you're going to. Look backwards. You can now see from where we came to where we are right now. Before the independence, Mr. C, there was not much of banditry. In fact, the government then was very, very, very opulent in the area of ensuring that maintenance of law and order was strict. There was serious deterrent. Then came our independence. Mr. C, you know what happened? It became a problem. In fact, if you see what happened those days, especially in the western part of the country, it was then called the Wild West. The wet here episodes, etc. And then came the Civil War, when the military took over before the Civil War. And you see, look at what happened. Immediately after the Civil War, the issue of civil rule was the issue. Before then, there was no banditry. Even when you had all kinds of problems after the Civil War, banditry was not the issue. Banditry has always been an issue whenever there is civil government in the country. When Shagari took over, banditry came to the fore. It came to the fore because every bandit, every criminal that was used, every thug that was used then, they were given offices. Let us say this is very official. They were given positions in government. In our own area then, Mbakwe, he was the governor of the old Imo State. Abia State was part of the old Imo. And there was a man called Pistol Killer. Pistol Killer was a non-bandit, but he had an official position in the government of Mbakwe. He was accommodated. Even in Anambra State, the old Anambra, Jim Mobo accommodated a very dangerous man called Anike Nwoga. Anike Nwoga was the killing machinery for the government. He was accommodated in government. In the West, Adedebu, who was a strong man of Ibadan, was accommodated. Then came 1999. Obasanjo did not tolerate any of this. He was totally opposed to it. But in Abia State, those bandits, those thugs, were accommodated through some security groups. Abia, especially Abia and Anambra State. They called it Bakassi. If you see what Bakassi did in Anambra during Odera's regime, it was very disturbing. The West were more strategic. They accommodated them through the National Union of Road Transport Workers. And then look what happened during Yaradua. During Yaradua, the banditry were more or less the Niger Delta militants. They were not bandits per se. They were agitating for benefits. You can call them benefit agitators, or maybe benefit bandits if you call them. That was when we had Pompolo take a turn them and Asareda Kubo come to see. Yaradua handled it very properly by putting the amnesty in place. It worked and worked very well. The actual problem started during Jonathan. Jonathan was a very weak leader. That was when bandits came from left, right, and center. Those bandits that were brought into the country by politicians, but they were not pacified when they lost elections. They were there. They were causing mayhem. But because Jonathan was a very weak leader, nothing happened. They caused a lot of problems in our system. Then came Buhari. Mr. C, you know what happened during Mr. Buhari? Buhari was simply a tribalist, if you have to call it by the proper names. He was a sectional leader. He was a religious leader. In fact, those bandits were now being told were those that came from our from our neighbors who were hired. In fact, if you listen to the current National Security Advisor, when he was contesting election as the president, he was seeking to be the president of the country, he said very openly that these were criminals that came in to ensure that one political party won elections. And since then, they have remained in the country. We now have Chibok girls kidnapped. Over 100 of them is still in captivity. Leah Sharibu is still in captivity. The Dapchi girls are still in captivity. Look at those NYSC going from Akwa Ibom to Sokoto, they are still in captivity. The Buhari Area Council people, they are still in captivity. The Kaduna train station problem, where a chunk of our people, including a medical doctor, was killed. We are told that about 7 of them cannot properly be accounted for. And look at what happened also in Niger, in Shiroro Dam construction. 85% that were taken up to now have not been seen. So see, look at where we are coming from. Look at where we are today. The problem we have is that we are not able to put enough deterrent and also put enough instrumentality to fight this banditry. That was why I was very angry with the government of Abia State about what we found in North Panther. Well, what we found in North Panther, and it was not properly being handled. North Panther ought to have been shut down completely. North Panther ought to have been properly investigated. Where are those decomposing bodies? Who are there? We must have to do proper forensic to make sure who are there. Families have lost loved ones and there's no deterrent. Where there is no deterrent, this is where the problem exasperates. This is where the problem comes out to very fast. Our leaders must have to put together the instrumentality for effective security network in the country. That is not there. And also put together proper deterrent. So see, look at how the bandits are working. They are working very freely. They are seen in the forest with their motorcycles. They are seen killing people, killing farmers, taking over farmlands, and there is no deterrent. That is where the problem lies.
Yeah.
There's no deterrent.
Let's look at the comments. I mean, the debate on the floor of the Green Chambers yesterday, where leading the debate, a lawmaker, a certain Ahmed Mune, he is representing Lera Federal Constituency of Kaduna State. Well, make mention, quoting him now, he said, well, the House is aware that on Friday, March 8, 2024, gunmen attacked worshippers in a mosque at Angwa Makera in Kwasa Kwasa community in the Benengwari local government area of Kaduna State. And he says this worrisome trend of violence is seeping into other parts of the state, affecting persons of all religious and ethnic background. Most importantly, he expressed concern that, quote, despite the 3.25 trillion naira allocated to the defense and security sector on drones and other military equipment that could have tracked, located and rescued victims, there's been no respite as the bulk of the actions by security personnel are reactionary rather than proactive. What's your take on this comment?
Well, we were with the National Security Advisor 2 weeks ago, and we expressed our concerns. We expressed the attitude of government, the negative attitude of government in solving this problem. Somebody raised an issue. Yes, they can't take responsibility of the previous governments, but there are some proper provisions this time around for this government, and you must have to find out that security equipment, security apparatus, especially the ones that are required to fight banditry and kidnapping, they can't just be purchased off the shelf. You have to place orders for them. So you have to give it to them that if we are trying to assess the performance of this security apparatus we have right now in this government, you can't start assessing them now. You can only start assessing them after 2 years after. That is the only way you can make proper assessment. It takes very close to 6 to 18 months to have one apparatus, security apparatus, paid for, purchased, and delivered to the country. And then the training that goes with the use of that equipment. So this is exactly where we are right now, Mr. C. We're in a very big limbo because we have a backlog, a catalog of what has happened behind us, especially the inattitude of the Jonathan regime and the encouragement of the Buhari regime against banditry, because they were Fulanese mostly. Fulanese that came from all parts of the world came to Nigeria, and they were encouraged by a government that was in place, the government of Buhari. They were untouchables. In fact, we are told that there was a ministry for Fulanese in the presidency. There was such a thing. It was very clear. When we heard about that Meiti Allah ministry office in the presidency during Buhari, we went to verify. We wanted to find out if this was true. Behold, Mr. C, it was true. We had a Meiti Allah office in Buhari's government. So that encouraged, it emboldened those the kidnappers, and payments were being made. Payments were being made to them regularly. The funding of kidnapping activity and banditry was a big business. At the time, it was one of the biggest business in the country. We were told that within the space of 6 months, we had about 3 trillion paid to bandits. And this is the unofficial one. The official one, we do not know.
Well, Kaduna Islamic cleric, he's not one unknown to the media, particularly during the last administration, where he advocated for a dialogue with bandits. He spoke yesterday in an interview where he did call on the administration of President Tinubu not to toe the path of the past administration by not negotiating with the bandit. As a matter of fact, he did offer to go speak with the abductors of the pupils of the schools in Kaduna. What's your take on this talk on dialogue? Yet again.
You're talking about Gumi?
I'm talking about, yes, Ahmed Gumi.
Ahmed Gumi, yeah. You see, we have a good detail on Gumi. Gumi is an extremist. Gumi is a big tribal bigot, an Islamic bigot, who does not believe in anything except his own. So if you have people like that give advice, we're always very wary of their advice. It was Gumi who said that if you're not a Muslim, you are nobody in the country. It was Sam Gumi who said that anybody who touches a Muslim, even in the prison where they have committed crimes, anybody who sentences a Muslim is going to be condemned. It was Sam Gumi. So if people like that give advice, we're always very wary about their advice. However, I do not believe, and all of us in the security circles, we do not believe in negotiating with bandits. We don't believe in negotiating with criminals, especially criminals that are fashioned in such a way that they commit all kinds of heinous crimes. They cannot change. That is our experience. The only thing that we have always believed in is law enforcement, deterrent, using law enforcement to ensure that you stop banditry. That is the only thing that we know that works. You don't have to start romancing them. When you start romancing bandits, they do worse things. Look at what's happening around the world right now. The records we have shows that about 25 to 30% of new crimes committed are those who are released from prisons. So even when you chastise them and release them, they commit more crime. 30% is a large number, if you ask me, Mr. C. So we believe in the security circles that we don't negotiate with criminals. We don't negotiate with bandits. Put in place the necessary law enforcement instrumentality to stop banditry. Let that be enough deterrent. That is the only thing that stops banditry.
I mean, what's the way to go? Nigerians, are already getting used to this stories of kidnap on a daily basis. And here we're talking about children who were adopted in their school. If dialogue shouldn't be the way to go, maybe payment of ransom for the release of these pupils, how can we get the release of these children by a recommendation?
Look at what we have always said, Mr. C. Nigeria, you have all kinds of banditry and kidnapping going on. If you fly from Nigeria to your neighbor, Ghana, there's nothing like that. If you go to Niger, which is our immediate neighbor in the north, nothing like that. You go to the Republic of Benin, there's nothing like that. The question is, what are they doing that we're not doing? What are they doing that we're not doing? They have a very strong deterrent, a very strong law enforcement against banditry. And I hope you saw what happened a few days ago with the Ghana police and the Fulanis. You saw what happened. There was an instruction that they should leave one location, and when they failed to leave that location, there was massive use of arms against them to make sure that they're dead. And they were the ones now begging that they were relocating to Nigeria. That is the problem, Mr. C. The problem is that look at what is happening in other countries, and our leaders don't have enough courage to use arms and ammunition and use the necessary security apparatus to stop banditry. In fact, they're encouraging it more or less. I'll give you the example of Buhari. Bandits were allowed to carry their cattle anywhere in the country with arms and ammunition. Illegal AK-47, they were carrying it. And the government allowed it. Once you allow any form of banditry, the other banditry follows up. Once you allow any sort of kidnapping to, they benefit from funding, the next one follows up. Look at what happens, Mr. C. When somebody is kidnapped, the arrangement for weeks is on telephone. In the country, in a world today when you cannot communicate with anybody on telephone and you're not located, we have the normal tracking systems. Even when the telephone you have used is put off, we can still track you and locate your location where you are. But the country is not using it. The country is more or less encouraging thuggery, encouraging banditry, and encouraging kidnapping. When you don't use law enforcement apparatus that is available around the world, and when the rest of your neighbors are safe, and you are not the only one safe, you must go and examine your head. You have a problem.
Open Parliament's midweek edition of Family Love 99.9 FM. Our guest is Interpol Systems consultant and security expert Chikwe Udensi, giving his take on the very sad incident that happened in Kaduna, where pupils and school children numbering over 287 were abducted by bandits. Well, we're going to get to Abia State now, where we're going to be looking at governance in Abia, particularly with former speakers of the Abia State House of Assembly last weekend setting aside the political leanings and endorsing the performance of the state governor, Dr. Alex Oti. Well, the speakers came together under the aegis of Conference of Former Speakers of Abia State House of Assembly. They visited the governor at his residence and later joined him on the inspection of ongoing project in Aba, the commercial nerve center of the state. Well, the former speakers who took part in that inspection were Mr. Stanley Ohajiruka, Mr. Arwa Arunsi, Mr. Agu Agu, Mr. Christopher Remadu, Mr. Martin Sezubike, Chikwe Kalu, and Saude Okochukwu. I'm sure you followed this story, Sal, didn't you? With the very positive reviews coming from the former speakers. What did you make of that?
Yes, I effectively commend the speakers that went to see the governor. I commend them for their statesmanship, their non-partisan position, and also recognizing the achievement and performance of a government that is not theirs. That is the important thing. It is not their government, but they are able to recognize that this government is doing very well, and they went to commend the governor, Stanley Hadruka, I don't say. It is not Ago, it's Agu, Mr. C. You are damaging somebody's name.
Thanks for the correction.
Yes. And Chris Wenamadu, also Martin Azubike. I have no doubt in my mind that the absence of Chinedu was not intended. I believe he's also part of them. They commended him. But you see, Mr. C, I have always said this over and over, that it is only 9 months of the government of Alex Oti, that we cannot make any proper judgment right now until after 2 years. In fact, it is in the 3rd year that we are able to make a good judgment as to whether the government has performed. And this performance will be not just road construction, all aspects, healthcare, education, social services. You have to look at all these areas, and you look at what is available to him and what did he do. Because usually, whenever a governor goes into office, the first few months, there's always serious activity. Let us look backwards. Look at when OUK became the governor of Abia State, Ojo Zokalo. In fact, in less than 6 months, Obasanjo was in Abia, commissioning roads. In fact, Ojo was now called Action Governor. Don't forget, he was Action Governor, and everywhere there were serious praises for Ojo Zokalo. And also, he came in. In less than 1 year, he was achieving the global. He was getting awards, even areas in Ghana. In less than 1 year of becoming governor, he was the best governor of. In fact, there was a prophecy from one of these spiritual fraudsters who said that he was going to be the next Igbo president. That was what we heard about Ochendo. When Mazu came in few months after he came in, he became the kinetic governor. He was being praised. Awards were coming from left, right, and center. So it is too early to say who has done what and who has done what very well. After 2 years, when we get into the 3rd year, we shall sit down, we analyze what has come into the government's coffers and how those things were used and properly used. That is when we can make a good judgment. We're not going to rely on the movement of maybe ex-speakers to the governor. That is not enough. But also, Mr. C, let us look at it. What were the roles of these ex-speakers when they were on the saddle, when they were speakers of Abia State House of Assembly? What role did they play?
Okay.
Do not forget, it's very, very important to look at it from this way, Mr. Sip.
Yeah. Permit me to pause your thought there because we're going for a break right now. When we return, we'll be looking at your take on the roles of the former speakers. Well, listeners, Open Parliament, live on the frequency, Interpol Systems consultant and security expert, Chikwe Udensi is a guest. Stay with us. We'll be back. Still the midweek edition live on the frequency. A guest, Interpol Systems consultant and security expert, Chikwe Udensi. Well, before the break, we were looking at the former speakers of the Abia State House of Assembly last weekend, setting aside their political leanings and endorsing the performance of the Abia State Governor, Dr. Alex Oti, declaring that his 9 months in office have been remarkable. Well, before the break, we're going to look at the roles of the former speakers when they held sway.
Yes, Mr. C, we are running the presidential democracy. And in presidential democracy in the state, we have 3 arms of government. We have the executive, we have the legislature, and the judiciary. So if you look critically, you will find out that those who do the major course, those who take the proper step in ensuring good governance are essentially the executives and the legislature. What is the role of the legislature? They're the ones who make the laws in the state. Apart from making laws, they're the ones who pass the budget. The budget is a major issue in the administration of a state. When a budget is prepared by the executive, they will send it to the legislature. The legislature will take a proper look at it, make sure that the line items are properly aligned before they send it back for assent. They approve it, they pass it. If they don't pass that budget, the governor of the state cannot assent to it. And then apart from the budget, they also have the oversight function of the same budget they have passed. They have all committees that look at these functions. For example, Mr. C, what I mean is that if you have a works committee, that works committee will ensure that the monies meant for the works department are properly executed on timeline basis. Mr. C, look at the various budgets from 1999 to today. I have taken a close look at the budget. Beautiful budget, effective budget. But the Abia State government budget has never been able to perform up to 40% of its budget performance. Less than 40%. Also, whose role was it to ensure that there was proper budget performance? Look at the appointment of commissioners. If you take a critical look at Abia commissioners from 1999 to date, you will see that most of them are just political apologists. They don't even have idea of what the job for which they are being sent to do. Therefore, what we are saying is that not all of them, Mr. C, I'm not saying every one of them, no. But a chunk of them are political appointments. And who clears them? It is the State Assembly. Commissioners and special advisors. It is the state assembly that clears them. So the incompetence of a state government is a joint duty of the executive and the legislature. When a government fails, it is the executive and the legislature that has failed. So while I commend them for being statesmanly, when they were there, what did they do? What was their role? Did they perform their roles as the eagle eye that has to ensure that the executive does their job? No, they did not do that, Mr. C. They were rubber, if you ask me. There was no single speaker of the House there that had the courage to tell the government, this is not right. You're not doing this properly. Or suggest alternatives to the best way. There was no speaker of the House of Assembly in Abia State from 1999 till date that was able to reject any commissioner and say, this commissioner you have sent is not competent. They were more or less rubber stamps. And when you're a rubber stamp, you have taken part in the problems of the state. So while I commend them for being statesmanly, going to commend Lesotho, when they were there, what did they do? They did nothing. They were rubber stamps. They caused part of our problems in the previous 24 years of mismanagement of the affairs of Abia State. They were part of it. They were in it. So they should also be taking part in rendering undeserved apology to the Abia State people for the role they played in ensuring that Abia State was underdeveloped. While I also say that, Mr. C, let me also encourage the previous governors to also go and commend the Lesotho. Let them have a committee of former governors too. Let them also go and commend the Lesotho for the job Lesotho is doing now. But as for me, I will wait. While saying you're doing a good job, I will wait until after 2 years, on the third year of his governance, we shall be able to come out with a worksheet as to what has been done, what ought to be done, and what was not done. If he has done very well, like you know, Mr. C, I'll be the first to commend him. If he has done badly or poorly in some area, I'll be the first to say, you have done bad here. But please do better. This is my situation.
What do you make too of the governor? I did have former Speaker of the House of Assembly, Right Honorable Martin Sazubike, on Open Parliament. Well, he said, hey, the meeting and inspection of the ongoing road project was at the instance of the governor. I want to take on the governor reaching out to these former speakers.
I don't know the intention of the governor. I don't know what purpose that was intended to serve. Maybe some of them are his friends. Like I have very close friends there. Stanley Hajuka is my very close friend. His first son, I'm the godfather of his first son. So I have most of them there are my very good friends. So probably if I'm governor, I probably would have invited them to also come and see what I'm doing. So I don't know the purpose of the governor. He has his reasons. But what I'm saying is that as much as I commend them in their statesmanship and their non-partisanship of saying, yes, this governor, though he's not in my party, he's doing very well. That is statesmanship. I commend them for doing that. But it is too early in the day. It's too early in the day. Let us wait, because we have already commended UK, Ojuzokalo, we commended TA, the same way we commended the Bazu. Today, we are commending Lesotho. Let us hold on. Let him do 2 years. We'll see what he has taken, we'll see the job he has done, and we'll be able to commend him and commend him properly. So I believe that it is the governor who knows the best reason why he invited them. Maybe they are his friends, or maybe it was intended for other purposes for which we do not know.
I mean, days after the said inspection by former speakers, we had a report of a foundational member of the People's Democratic Party in Abia State, Jeru Zosike, resigning his membership of the party, said to be on his way to the Labour Party. We also had him on Open Parliament, where he said, he would rather be a gatesman in heaven than be a king in hell. He took to his Facebook account where he did report on his visit to the governor, and quoting him, he said, after meeting with my beloved governor of Abia State, seeing firsthand what Dr. Alex has done within this very short time in office, and where he is taking our beloved state to, one can only thank God Almighty for giving to Abia State such a visionary governor in a time like this. I believe in good governance. I have shown that in my little time in politics. In Dr. Alex Oti, I see a perfect example of what good governance should be. Thank you, Your Excellency, for your vision, which has proved that a new Abia is possible and help is finally here. To God be the glory. Is it too soon, you think? Questions have been asked about his integrity of jumping ship so soon, just 9 months on with the PDP away from leadership?
Well, I commend him. I commend him for recognizing that Alex Oti have excelled in 90 days. What he has done so far is quite commendable. I commend also Zovike for doing that. But you see, Mr. C, whenever a politician tells me that he's leaving his party to another party, I don't jump into congratulating him. I open my eyes very well to know, number one, who is he? Does he have a visible means of livelihood? What income does he have? What is his business? Is his business politics? Is his business praise singing? Who is he? So these are the things I look into first and foremost before I make my comments, because I know politicians, Mr. C, they always look for where it is very rosy. A politician does not lose. They call them any government in power, AGIP. So if it is the one that is doing very well, they join that one. That has been the attitude of politicians. I don't know if it is the attitude of Uzofiki. I don't know. I don't know enough of him. I don't know his antecedents. I don't know his character and characteristics. So I can't make proper judgment as to who he is or his intentions. He has his intentions, and his intentions are best known to him. But what I'm looking at is that he is commending something good. He can still remain in his party and commend what is good. I'm not a member of Labour Party. I'm commending Labour Party for doing a good job. So that does not mean I must have to enter Labour Party to be able to commend Labour Party. Stay where you are. Believe in your own principles and concepts. Believe in your own designs and fortitudes. That is my thinking. Moving from one place to other, moving from one political party to other, does not make a statesman or make an honest politician. An honest politician, from wherever he is, in whatever party he is, should be able to acknowledge the very good job being done by whosoever that is in power.
0816-111-5955 or 0907-103-6625. That is 0816-111-5955 or 0907-103-6625. 1 minute if you come through. We have a caller. Hello, good morning.
You are blessed.
Good morning to you.
Chikwe Udensi, you are lifted for us. You are a good man. You are more than intelligent. Yes, you have said it all. But what I want to say is that the difference between Aleso and those governors you mentioned is that Aleso said that he will not collect awards. Because what we are saying is that awards they give to them abroad. You see, for the governors, 45 will travel abroad, they will be drinking champagne, 8 million. Then we remain here and be calling radio houses. But Aleso, people from other parties, that's the difference. I want you to get me right. I love how you speak. I want to say, will not collect any award until he leaves office. Those governors you mentioned, they're collecting an award of other people, and some people that are commending them, people that are sympathizing with them. The only one people that did marvelously well while the president gave his action governor. So that's the thing. I don't see now people that came from other parties trying to join a little bit. Yesterday, I advised Chikwe Udensi. He has to be mindful.
Thank you.
Those people, especially people from PDP.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. We have another caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr.
Good morning to you.
Obrigado.
Obrigado.
Good morning, Sir Chikwe Udensi.
Good morning, sir.
Who say man notice the name I'm calling from mine.
Welcome.
Sir Chikwe Udensi, I want to thank you once again for this lecture. Irrespective of the way we Abians and the people that listen to this program see. One thing that is certain is just that you are very transparent. You are not taking side of anything. And there can nobody in this life, even the current government, cannot stop you from saying the truth. Even their supporters will never, because all we are saying is the betterment of Abia. Then the issue of security that is mentioned, I believe that the federal government should look inwards to make sure that all these insecurity, kidnapping and killings end. And they are supposed to take as an action, instead of telling us they are supposed to be negotiated. Then finally, concerning speakers, like you said, the governor, the former speaker, a current speaker has disobeyed rules of law for almost 4 months now. He has not sworn somebody that got elected as someone who is still there.
Thank you.
They are busy. They can't encourage somebody.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. 1 minute, you've got state of views. Hello, good morning. Hello. Hello, good morning. Well, do call us back if you can. We have another caller. Hello, good morning to you.
Well, good morning, Mr. C.
Good morning, please. Move away from your radio.
Good morning, Mr. Chikwe Udensi.
Good morning, sir.
You've always been a sort of inspiration to me. In fact, any day I don't listen on Wednesday, I feel like I've missed something for the day. Thank you for the early lectures that you gave us today. I hope the governments are listening. You see, like I've always said, I buy with all that you said here because they are apt, they are correct. But I don't know why we have to vote so much money into security. The Tucanos that we bought and all the equipment that we have bought, yet we want to negotiate with the terrorists. Who does that anywhere? And for that of the governor here in Abia State, I still believe that it is too early, because some people start well and end poorly, and some people start poorly and end well. So let them just relax. Let us, like you've always said, let us wait. It's too early for anybody to be commending anybody now or giving awards. That's why I think this is so very important.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Ikechukwu, calling from Waya.
Welcome.
Ikechukwu Krochukwu. Good morning to your guest at Chikwe Udensi. See, somebody that failed English language and government is not qualified to mark the script on English language and government. The previous government they have in the past in Nigeria put this country and the state the mess we are facing today. So they have no qualified meta knowledge to assess whether a government is performing, is not performing. So Alesoti, nobody assess government based on road construction. So anybody is telling you that you are performing is deceiving you. You are not performing. So take that as a strange information now. Because why? Your government is not transparent, and your budgetary system, what I'm hearing is true, is not completely coherent. Then as per federal government and insecurity, if those people that are handling their security budget is not properly checked, they will not allow insurgents to stop.
Thank you.
They are cashing out.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We appreciate 1 minute to come through. Hello, good morning. We have another caller.
Hello, good morning, Mr. King.
Good morning to you.
Obrigado.
Obrigado.
I am Okafor Chinedu. I am calling from Omai.
Welcome.
Yes, my brother, there is nothing wrong in appreciating quality leadership and good governance. In as much as we have seen the kind of leadership Abia State have been under within these past years, and if somebody come up to appreciate any good thing that he has seen, there is nothing wrong in it. But I want the government of this present, in fact, the present administration, to be very careful, because all these accolades, let them not allow it to enter their head. Finally, on the issue of insecurity in Nigeria, I think our government, in their own way, should be more proactive. It is a major cause of our economic downturn, coupled with the level of corruption we have witnessed in this nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. C.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, my able security expert. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
I remember Mr. Prince Williswag from here, Norman Achopo.
Welcome.
First of all, Mr. C, let me start with shared idea of negotiating with bandits. My brother, it is a slight to the entire nation that a subject under a sovereign nation can tell a sovereign nation to go and negotiate. Really, you can negotiate with banditry or bandits, but not somebody telling you that he knows where those people are. It does mean that that person is an accomplice to what is happening to us. So I believe the presidency and the president should do something fast. Either by now get shared Guni, put him under cooler, and use him to arrest those guys, or let them use every force like Ghana has used 2 days ago against these bandits. Then finally in Abia State, what those Osike did is what that happens in a democratic setup. But the problem is this: in Nigeria, we don't have ideology in our parties. Parties that have ideology won't allow somebody to defect from his party to another party. Rather, you can give glory to another party.
Thank you.
But not leaving your own party.
Thank you.
It is wrong.
Thank you.
May God bless you, my brothers.
Thank you very much. We're going to leave it there for the calls. Well, back to you, sir. Your parting words on the program this morning.
It is always very important, Mr. C, to find out if actually what is budgeted, what is voted for any of the sectors is what is released. Not too long ago, we went to find out why the budget meant for the police was not using it very well. In fact, we are accusing the police management that they were not using their budget. We were so shocked to find out in one of the instances, 300 billion was budgeted, only 87 billion was released. So when you see the budget and the amount set up on any budget, please do not think that that is the amount that has been released. Or maybe when you hear that one company has been awarded contract to do a road, that company may not have received 1 penny, even with the award of the contract. That is why I'm very particular about budget performance. Look at the previous budgets of Abia State, BSC. Take a close look from Moses Okalo to today. The budgets are beautiful budgets, well articulated, well positioned, and those projects for which monies were estimated or provided for in the budget were the monies provided eventually. Less than 40% performance. That is what we have in Abia State. It's unfortunate. So when you hear that 3 trillion has been budgeted for security in Nigeria, by the end of the day, less than 500 million or 500 billion would have been released. Less than 1 trillion of the 3 trillion. So it's very, very important that you make sure you distinguish between what is budgeted and what is released, because most of the time, the unexpected always happens.
Well, a good place to leave it, Sir Chikwe Udensi. Thanks so much once again for coming through on the program this morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. C, for always having me.
Interpol Systems consultant and security expert Sir Chikwe Udensi was a guest on Open Parliament this morning, midweek edition. Same time, same station, God willing, next week. We would have him back on this side. Thanks for being a part with your calls and listenership. We'll do it again tomorrow, the Thursday edition of the program. We'll take you to the newsroom now for the news at 10. My name is Mr. C.